The second best practice for a company to keep in mind is to define measurable goals from the sustainability efforts. And this means that the company must set clear and measurable long-term sustainability goals for a period of 5 or more years. But in addition to setting those goals, it's also essential to communicate those goals internally within the company and externally with stakeholders. And now you might be wondering, why is it necessary to communicate so much? Shouldn't we just get started doing it? Well, effective communication is necessary because making the public and employees, etc., aware and making your people aware of the sustainability goals will help motivate them and help motivate the whole organization. They need to know what the goals are. And it will also require the leaders in the organization to allocate resources for these goals to be achieved. Plus, communication can help with identifying the right people in the organization who will become eventually accountable for those goals, because the right resources are essentially to get involved in the programs. So please remember, goals are great, but communication of goals is just as important, because great goals help create a sense of urgency in the organization, and you need to communicate that urgency. Setting goals might seem rather obvious to you, but 33% of the companies in the McKinsey research said that they had not defined key performance goals or KPIs for sustainability. And by KPIs, we mean concrete measures or goals that we use to determine whether we've been successful or not. And because those companies did not set goals, key employees in the organization were not being held accountable for those sustainability actions. And if you remember anything from this boot camp session, please remember that without accountability, very little is likely to happen in an organization, especially with sustainability efforts. Now, the third best practice identified in the McKinsey research was that a company must complete a cost-benefit analysis of their sustainability goals, cost and benefits. Plus, they should communicate widely the findings of that analysis so everybody can see the concrete results or problems that you're having. That's really important. Unfortunately, though, the problem with making a cost-benefit analysis of sustainability is that the savings and profits resulting from sustainability programs or initiatives are often widely spread across the organization. And what this means is that a great deal of effort must be put into getting the information, quantifying the financial impact, etc. And that takes time. You have to extract that information. But quantifying that financial impact is critical to remember, because only 20% of companies in the research by McKinsey and MIT were able to report and communicate the financial benefits of the sustainability efforts. But there is a solution to that problem, which some companies haven't recognized. And that solution is that the company needs to select an individual executive who will be the owner of each sustainability target. And this is important because these executives will then continually track the cost and benefits, and by tracking those costs and benefits, sustainability program owners will also be able to measure the indirect effects of their program, such as improved corporate reputation, increased customer loyalty, and things like that. So tracking the program is really important, because often sustainability benefits only pay off in the long run. And that explains why only 37% of companies in the McKinsey research said that having a focus only on short-term earnings is often the reason for poor results in a sustainability program. And in addition to that, having a short-term perspective on sustainability is a big mistake, because more often than not, sustainability programs, as we mentioned a moment ago, only pay off in the long run. Now, the fourth lesson we got in terms of best practices and sustainability is about creating incentives for people. Incentives are important because the number one reason companies gave in the research for not being able to capture the full value of sustainability efforts was that they didn't clearly define the incentives. And that's really important. The research showed that only 8% of companies included sustainability measures when calculating the performance of their executives, for example. And only 14% of companies rewarded their suppliers for good sustainability performance. And for me personally, those seem to be very low numbers. What do you think? Now, what this research finding means is that incentives and rewards are critical for success to occur in any sustainability effort, because without the incentives, people in the organization will quickly return to the normal behavior which has rewarded them in the past. And that's important to keep in mind if you wish to achieve a successful sustainability strategy.